This is breaking news.
Good afternoon. I'm Christine Johnson. The suspect in Sunday's deadly subway shooting is now in custody. Andrew Abdullah is accused of gunning down Daniel Enriquez in a random and unprovoked attack on the Q train while crossing the Manhattan Bridge Sunday. Right now, Police Commissioner Keishant Sewell and Mayor Eric Adams are briefing reporters. Let's go ahead and listen in.
Your NYPD investigators identified him as the killer of Daniel Enriquez through canvassing by our transit officers, community engagement, social media outreach, and excellent detective work. He was arrested in his lawyer's office this afternoon and is now being prepared for arraignment. The murder of Daniel Enriquez was every New Yorker's worst nightmare. Tragically, it's a scenario that we've seen play out far too many times before. Andrew Abdullah was well known to the criminal justice system. But again and again, his repeat offenses were not enough to keep him off our streets. His criminal history stretches back to 2016 and includes charges of felony assault, robbery, attempted murder, and a still open gun charge from 2 years ago. The most basic purpose of the criminal justice system is to keep people safe. And in the only state in our nation where a judge is not allowed to consider dangerousness when setting bail, this was yet another failure of that system. And now Daniel Enriquez is gone. His family and loved ones are suffering, and they rightfully want to know why. Well, there is no valid reason why, because this horrific crime should never have happened. And I said 2 weeks ago, after the shooting of our officer, Dennis Vargas, that we need to right these wrongs. The violence on the Q train last Sunday morning was committed by another repeat offender who was given every leeway by the criminal justice system. We cannot and will not stand for it. Today, a killer is off our streets, and we turn our attention to getting justice for Daniel Enriquez and his family. That's our focus moving forward in this case. And along with the District Attorney's Office and our other law enforcement partners, that's exactly what we are going to do. I want to turn it over to the Mayor, Eric Adams.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thanks to the good work of the men and women and our partners in law enforcement, we got him, and we got him in a way that he did not cause more injuries to New Yorkers. And I think the Commissioner stated something that's important. We got a killer off our streets, but far too many killers are back on our streets through a revolving door criminal justice system that appears to pit the NYPD and good New Yorkers against the bad guys. We were fortunate to have a thorough police work here, and the Chief of Detectives is going to lay out the history of this person. Any reasonable thinking New Yorker is going to ask themselves, why is this person still on our streets? And that in itself is a tragedy. But the fact is, he is the poster child of many people who believe they can create violence without any repercussion at all. It is too easy to get a gun, too comfortable to use the gun, and there is a pervasive feeling among dangerous people that there's no repercussions for their actions for using the gun. As we stand here today, we also want to have our hearts go out to the family. When you think about an innocent person, he should have been sitting at his desk at Goldman Sachs. He should have been planning outings with his family. He should have been able to enjoy all the things that New Yorkers enjoy. Instead, we are mourning his death. I spoke to his sister yesterday. She was full of pain. Just could not find reasons why someone would take the life of her brother. Hearing her words coming from the Bronx, the Commissioner and I stopped to see the parents of an 11-year-old baby that was prematurely taken from us due to gun violence. We see it far too often, and all of this is fueled by America's toxic gun cultures. His loved ones have to experience the loss. New Yorkers have to experience the trauma. As we try to rebound and rebuild our system, this is an impact, but we will respond accordingly and ensure our city is safe and our transportation system is safe. Part of our recovery is tied to the MTA. That's why we're glad to have the MTA as a partner as we move forward to rid it of the violence that we're seeing. Daniel was shot in his heart. We feel it in our hearts. We lost a fellow New Yorker, one of the good guys. We are doing our job, I say over and over again. The NYPD, with their partners, have removed over 2,900 illegal guns off our streets. As soon as we place them on, more return with bad guys who feel comfortable enough, even after we arrest them, that they can come back out and wreak havoc on our city. The industry pumps guns into the community faster than we can take them out. Arresting the shooter doesn't change what is going on every day in this industry. And we have to fight united to stop the flow of guns. The sea of violence comes from many rivers, and we must dam each one. Today we dammed one of them. There are far too many more we have to dam without the help to carry it out. Also want to put my heart out to the family members in Texas Elementary School. A mass shooting, 2 babies, DOA possibly, 12 injured. These shootings are happening far too often, and the response is not meeting the level of threat and danger that we are experiencing. Not acceptable. We will never surrender our streets to violence. And I want to thank the men and women of the NYPD for apprehending this dangerous person off our streets.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just going to walk you through the investigation, but before I start, with me is Hank Sortner. He's the Manhattan South investigative chief who chaired this investigation. So on Sunday, May 22nd, at approximately 11:42 a.m., in the last car of a Manhattan-bound Q train, while it was approaching the Canal Street station, eyewitnesses stated that a male was pacing back and forth inside the train car, muttering to himself. The only distinguishable words heard were, "no phones." The male suddenly and without any prior interactions or provocation walked up to our victim, a 48-year-old male named Daniel Enriquez, and shot him 1 time in the chest. He was later pronounced at Bellevue Hospital. A 9mm shell casing was recovered on the scene. As soon as the train stopped, the perpetrator exited the train onto the platform and fled on foot up the staircase. As he reached the top of the staircase at Lafayette and Canal Street, he handed off the firearm to a homeless male identified as Jabbar Balding. Mr. Balding was apprehended and interviewed. He stated that he does not know who the perpetrator is and just randomly handed him the gun. Further investigation and in-depth interviews later led to the recovery of that gun. It is a 9mm Ruger firearm reported stolen in Hampton, Virginia, on November 18th of 2019. It is a ballistics match to the shell casing on the train. Investigators were able, through video taken on the train by passengers and video at the turnstile gate, to get a description of our shooter, which was a male black with gray sweatpants and a black hoodie. Approximately 11 minutes later, transit officers responding to the scene stopped the suspect. He had altered his appearance. Later, detectives recovered video of that male removing his hoodie and carrying a backpack. That male was identified as Andrew Abdullah, a 9-block gang member. He's a male black, 25 years old, with a date of birth of December 2nd, 1996. His last known address is 580 Flatbush Avenue. He has 8 prior arrests, including an assault in August of 2016, an assault in April of 2017.
All right, you've been listening to the chief of detectives there updating us on the arrest of suspect Andrew Abdullah in the subway shooting on the Q train yesterday, or excuse me, on Sunday. You may have heard Mayor Eric Adams also mentioning the shooting earlier this afternoon in Texas, in a town just west of San Antonio. CBS News is now breaking in with a special report to update us on that shooting. It's a tragic situation. We're going to go ahead and join in on that coverage.